What would your life look like if you didn't have any opinions? Maybe it would be really cool. Let's begin.
This is a beautiful thought.
Welcome, everybody, stretching across the cosmic plane to all four quadrants of the universe, or maybe eight, depending on which spectrum of the multiverse you're from. Today, I want to ask you a question. What good are opinions? Sometimes when we use techniques like from cognitive behavioral therapy or from neuro-linguistic programming. Say sometimes if somebody has a strong belief or a strong thought about how a situation is going to turn out, I say, all right, well, let's look at this from a few angles. Let's say, what's the worst that could possibly happen in this situation? And they tell me, and I say, what's the best that can possibly happen? And then I say, well, what's actually likely now that we have the upper and lower bounds? What do you think will actually happen? What's the 90% likelihood here? And that gives a little cognitive flexibility, open up your mind a little bit so you can see things in a different light. And then there's other things like this reality testing. I was reading about this today. Actually, reality testing as a cognitive technique actually goes all the way back to Freud, or trying to look at things and say, well, how does my belief actually comply with this reality? I'll tell you, what I've been thinking lately is what we do sometimes with these thoughts. We try to replace the thoughts with something more positive, or think, that situation isn't all that likely, or I have an emotional feeling like this thing is 50% likely, but the reality, if I go through and analyze, maybe it's only 10% likely or 1% likely, and maybe it's not something I need to worry about. And in that way, we can affect our emotions and calm ourselves down a bit. But there's also things that happen, have these opinions, like the shower argument. I think a lot of people, especially if you're a verbal thinker, are familiar with the shower argument. I don't know why it particularly happens in the shower. I guess this is when you have time alone to think to yourself, and you start thinking about all of the times that you got into an argument with somebody and you're like, I should have said that would have got him good, that would have driven him, he wouldn't have had any place to go. It would have been checkmate. And what I find when I look at these kind of mental habits, I realize that is not increasing my happiness. That is not making happiness a priority, because it gives you some payoff. Like, it gives you some ego advantage, and you think to yourself, yeah, I really showed that guy in this imaginary situation, which will probably never happen, and it's completely hypothetical and has nothing to do with your life anyway. Yeah, you really showed that guy, right? And you get yourself worked up and start getting frustrated and angry and shaking your finger at the loofah or the soap. And what good is that? What good is it? And it's not just that. I mean, obviously that's an extreme example. Extreme in some form. I mean, the more extreme example is when we get into an actual argument. But this is also a lot more subtle examples, just when I'm thinking to myself, like just today when I was having breakfast and thinking about some position that I hold about libertarianism or governments, or all whatever kind of thing that I was thinking about. And it's like I said, it's a bit more subtle. It's not like I'm there this time shaking my finger at my fork and my or my spoon and my banana. But there's still something going on there. And I think to myself, would I be happier if I didn't have such a strong opinion? And a lot of the time, the answer is yes. And I'm actually receiving very little long-term benefit from having the opinion. It's just that short-term ego payoff. And I can just let it go. And I don't need to think so much. I don't need to believe so much about a particular thing. And I go through my life and a situation presents myself and I act accordingly to the situation, not necessarily according to a strong opinion or belief that I have. More in the moment. So a belief is something quite rigid. It's like a rock. It's like something quite solid. And that also must mean it's inflexible. And it means it's something about the past. A belief isn't about something that is happening now. It can't be. Because it's a response to situations that have occurred long ago. So why do I need a belief right now, in the moment? Why do I need an opinion? Can I just let my opinions go and just enjoy breakfast? As it turns out, I can. And I think you can too. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for taking the time to step aside from your ego, have a look at things maybe a little more objectively, or maybe a little more even freely. Thank you for having a great day and relaxing a little bit when it comes to your cognition. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
A beautiful thought.
Thanks for listening. Remember to check out the website beautifulpodcast.com, buy some of my cognitive behavioral services, sign up to Patreon, share it with your friends. Have a wonderful day. Adios.
Feel